Oh, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back. And we are returning to a very different world.
Yep, we are broadcasting from the States of America.
States. I think we're what we're now known as is Lower Eastern Canada.
Canada would say no.
Here in Massachusetts.
Canada would say no. They would say that we are, I would say 1920s Louisiana, maybe?
Well, it doesn't matter because Canada's going to happen. Canada's reckoning is going to happen in the next election they have. So, Anyway, well, we are back.
Our whole country is going to turn into a sundown country.
Yeah, crazy. We're back. I'm healthy.
Good.
I'm healthy. I'm strong. Go through that for everybody in a few minutes. To our U.S. listeners, we are as hurt as you are. We're not gonna dwell on election and politics stuff because I know it's not going to make anyone feel any. Well, probably make some people feel better. Hopefully, they're not listening to the show. But we did a good job of alienating those people a while back. And if you stuck around, hey, I like your moxie. Hate everything else about you.
We were pretty hard on Nazis for a while.
Oh, this show has always firmly been anti-Nazi.
Yes.
Always.
Hey, you know what I found out today, speaking about Nazis? Nick Fuentes, that fuckface.
Oh, Your Body, My Choice, that guy?
He's only 26 years old.
Oh, that doesn't surprise you? How old did you think he was?
Like mid-30s? Because I don't even know what he fucking looks like, so.
No, he looks like any other bro guy. Any other bro guy.
How also is Andrew Tate, like, how can he walk around saying he's the epitome of masculinity?
No, he's not.
The dude looks like a fucking reject from
He's going to jail anyway.
Factory. I hope so. I hope that guy gets everything he gave to everybody else. I wish nothing but what he's given.
He's a scumbag and a piece of garbage. And
I love that Greta fucking doxed him with a pizza order. That was awesome. How dumb do you have to be? I did see a thing where he's sitting there in pink shorts and no shirt. And if he shaved his beard, he would have the goofiest fucking mouth, like an overbite and underbite at the same time. But people were looking at the shorts and being like, where's his junk? He's like, is he a girl? Because there was nothing there.
Whatever.
That's all.
Anyway,
I just want to make fun of assholes.
It's fine. It's fine. The last week has been rough, but we are doing our best to get through it. We got through it once. We'll get through it again. And hopefully, if you have been down in the dumps, we can hopefully make it a little bit better for you. Because I'm healthy. Yeah. I had a surgery back on October 9th to fix my ileostomy that was brought on by my diverticulitis.
Well, diverticulitis can be a dick, so.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, that's for sure. Oh! But yeah, so the surgery went great. It went exactly the way that it was supposed to. I was in the hospital for a couple days longer. I think I had a slight infection that kept me there for a couple more days, but I was in the hospital for 6 days. I was originally only supposed to be there for 3 or 4. And it's that first couple weeks sucked. It sucked.
Yeah.
You came over to see me probably. I've been about 2 weeks I've been out?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, because you could talk, but you couldn't sneeze.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I couldn't laugh real hard either.
Yeah.
But you got to see the shotgun-sized wound that I had. It was gross. It's still fairly gross, but it's almost healed over now. So
that's good. That's good.
But yeah, those first couple days sucked. I was pretty sick. I was in quite a bit of pain. The surgery I had reversing an ileostomy, as we know, anyone that listens to the show, I had a stoma put in to allow my lower intestines and my colon and everything to heal. And the ileostomy puts you back together. So it was starting to go to the bathroom again like a regular healthy human was uncomfortable, but everything's working great. I feel good. Only real residuals is I'm just tired. I'm just tired. Well, they said that's going to take 8 to 12 weeks to really get my my energy back, because even though like the like basic healing is done, like the connections need to be re-strengthened. So I'm still on light duty and not really allowed to lift much of anything for about another 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's a huge shock to the system too. So it needs
I had two of those surgeries in the span of 3 months. So
that's a lot.
But I'm good. I feel great. I'm healthy. I've got the clean bill of health from the doctor. Don't even have to have another follow-up or anything. So it's
good.
It's all looking pretty good. And this one did not have a great story to go along with it, where it got delayed by like 9 hours or anything like that. I went in like right around the time I was supposed to. I was out right around the time I was supposed to be.
Good. Good.
and it was good. Yeah, it was good. So looking forward to not being sick, other than the fact that I immediately got a cold. So,
Well, that makes sense. I mean, your immune system was down because it was concentrating on other stuff.
And I'll tell you, this cold hit me hard because I was already tired from recovery. So, like, it was like I took NyQuil and I was out for 12 hours.
Wow.
And I don't sleep well normally. So, I mean, I guess that's good. I need the rest.
Yeah, definitely.
But so this will be these first couple shows will be a little bit shorter just because I don't have quite the energy level that I had before the surgery. It's going to take me a little while to get back there. But Scott sent in a segment for this week. Joe will be back next week. I think he has one more Psycho film to finish off, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll set him up with something. Yeah. But I caught up on a number of new releases, which we're going to talk about over the next couple weeks. We're going to talk specifically about The Substance today, and then we're going to talk about Terrifier 3 next week. So if anyone has their thoughts on Terrifier 3 and would like to send them in to us, you can send them in on the Patreon or email them to us at outsidethecinema@gmail.com or send a voice memo, whatever you want to do. Very divisive. Terrifier is huge. Like, it is the biggest horror franchise going currently, which I just still don't understand. Not to get ahead of my review, but
to get ahead of the reviews, I had a feeling.
Yeah. Yes. In a minor spoiler, I will say that I enjoyed part 3 more than part 2.
Okay. Can I say one thing and then I'll just leave it till next week?
Sure.
Scafidi, the one that plays Vicky or Victoria Hayes. She's my favorite character in the third movie. She's just nothing I would have ever expected to be put on screen.
Yeah, and it doesn't even make sense, so that's fine.
Well, next week I'll explain it. Yeah, because here's what I've been doing. I've been watching 1 and 2 a lot, and 3, and then I have been doing the commentary. Like on YouTube, they have the commentaries, just the audio tracks, and you just put in VLC, throw the thing in, or your DVD or whatever, and I've been doing the commentaries that way, and I learned a lot about the ideas behind it, what they wanted to do, what they can't do. But the thing that brings me back to it over and over again is how much they want to do like a great job and put what they want on screen, and everybody gives it everything they've got. So there's sincerity that keeps me coming back. Anyway, let's go to this other gross movie.
Yeah, so The Substance, another one that kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Completely. Yeah. I heard there was a horror movie with Demi Moore, and I'm like, oh, her career's over. That's too bad.
Well, and she doesn't do much.
No.
Anymore, really. All right, well, let's play the trailer.
She never really did horror. Okay.
People always ask for something new. It's inevitable. At 50, well, it stops.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. One single injection unlocks your DNA and will release another version of yourself. This is The Substance.
I'm Sue.
You're hired.
Let's go.
A perfect balance of 7 days each. The one and only thing not to forget. You are one. You can't escape from yourself.
There's been a slight misuse of the substance.
This balance is not working.
Would you like to stop? Would you like to stop? Would you like to stop? Would you like to stop?
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
You have to control yourself! Old, fat, disgusting!
People are gonna love that.
All right, The Substance, 2024, directed by Coralie how do you say her name? Farragut or Farragut?
I'm gonna. I don't have the page up yet, but I will.
All right, starring Demi Moore, Dennis Quaid, and Margaret Qualley, who is Andy McDowell's daughter, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's from the.
I think it's Andy McDowell. Her mother is a famous actress, but she's definitely. She's incredible in this. So,
it looks like Fargate or Fargate. I know it's not spelled like gate, but Fargate.
Fargate. We'll go with Fargate.
Gat.
Coralie directed one of my favorite horror movies from a few years ago, Revenge. Which was an excellent horror film. So this story is interesting. This is a body horror flick that has got a heavy, I feel French influence. I got a lot of like the bombastic Gaspar Noé type stuff. Feel from this. It's gross in all of the ways that you want it to be, but is also extremely slick, which is something that we don't get to see, I think, often enough. Yeah. But you have Demi Moore plays Elizabeth. She's a fading celebrity that's her niche is workout, like a daily workout show. Is this supposed to take place in the 80s? Because that's definitely the feel it gives off.
It does, but I'm trying to remember now. Are there computers?
I don't remember. And the substance is all just done through injections and stuff, and she doesn't watch any videos or like.
Oh no. She has a USB stick that she plugs into her smart TV. So it's at least as 90s? Old as that. I would say so early 2000s on.
Okay.
Right?
Well, either way, it doesn't really matter.
No,
it doesn't matter. It can live in whatever world it lives in. But so her thing is she does like a Jane Fonda, Suzanne Summers type workout show every day. But she's, as they say, fading celebrity. Demi Moore herself is 61. I want to say the character was supposed to be in her early 50s. And Demi Moore still looks incredible, by the way.
Yeah, she was supposed to be 50. Like exactly.
Right.
50.
So, Demi Moore still looks great. She's very picky with the stuff that she does now. So like we haven't seen a lot of her the last few years, which is, and it's nice because she still has a very engaging presence. And this is, she was always, I think, kind of, the hell is that? Stupid truck. Anyway, I think, she got, like A Few Good Men and like, but she's, I think, kind of underrated.
Yeah, this movie reminded me how good of an actress she can be. Because I haven't
she's
seen
all
her.
in this.
All I really see her in is One Crazy Summer. It's pretty much the only movie I watch with her in it.
Let's see. She was in The Parasite when she was young, and I'll rewatch like St. Elmo's Fire every now and then.
I don't think I've ever watched that all the way through.
That's good. It's you got to like that Brat Pack stuff.
Yeah, I grew up with it, so yeah.
So she is getting ready, I think, to retire from the show. Somewhat forcibly.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid plays Harvey, who is like her agent or like the studio exec or one of those. It's never exactly explained. But Dennis Quaid is so gross in this movie. And again, in all of the ways you want him to be. Slimy agent, slimy studio exec, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's a scene early in the film where Demi's character goes to go into the women's room, but it's closed, it's broken or whatever. So she goes into the men's room, and then he walks in and is talking all this shit on her. She's too old. She can't do it anymore. I need another younger, hotter actress to take this over, blah, 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 blah.
But never by name. I watched that part twice to make sure.
But it's definitely shown.
Yeah.
Yep. So she is then heading home and gets into a car accident.
That was a surprise. I had
Yeah.
no idea that was like in Singles.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
ruin
so
that
she
surprise.
goes. So she's somehow though not injured, gravely in any way, bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
At the hospital, and while she's at the hospital, there's a young gentleman there that's a nurse or a nurse's aide or something, and he gives her stuff back, and we see that he has a birthmark on his arm, and he slips a card and a number into her jacket, which she finds later on.
Yep.
And that's how she gets introduced to the quote-unquote substance. The substance is a injection. Actually, maybe you could. Why don't you explain this? You explain this.
The substance is this green reagent that you inject once, and then it changes you. It's very Resident Evil.
It is
at that point.
It's very Resident Evil.
And I really like. There was a small part of me, not taking aside all of the messaging and symbolism that this movie has to say, because I just made up my own shit for this thought. I thought this would be an amazing prequel to a Resident Evil movie, because some companies out there making something called The Substance, they have to be evil. I mean, don't they?
Oh, for sure.
So, but anyway, so once she agrees to do it, she goes and gets her package. She's number 503, which I thought it was interesting. It was that low of a number. She doesn't seem to pay any money for it either.
That was one thing I noticed. There's no like payment or like.
Yeah.
She doesn't like. They're not like, what's your credit card information? It's all very much like. We don't want to know really who you are, or like.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's no point where they take her. They take her mailing address and send her the card with the address to go and pick it up.
Yeah.
Or no, not even. They call her and tell her the address.
Right. Right. And then she gets another note with like the last piece of the address on it or something in the mail.
No, they send her the card. The 502 card.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I got that mixed up. I only watched this once. So, so the whole package is like, there's a whole, good job making this look like an actual medical kit. There was a lot of sealed, sterile packaging, a lot of gigantic, terrible looking needles, and they don't really talk about it until they use it. So you have this in the back of your head, like this is a syringe that's a foot long, the body of it. So what is that going to be used for? And it doesn't seem like she put much thought into it.
That was one of the things early on that I was kind of like, because here's the thing. There's no information on the company that like is doing this. There's no information on the substance itself, where it is, what it came from, or anything. There's no like going into the company representative and arguing one to see a manager or anything like that. It's literally just a voice on the phone and an area that has the pickup, and there's nobody there.
Yeah. And it's also a white sterile room, just like everything else she's familiar with.
Right.
Which is weird. It had a lot of, it had some Shining influence with the, I don't know if anybody's going to get sick of this word, but like we have a bunch of liminal spaces that are set up to feel uncomfortable. Yes, the orange hallway, absolutely. That plays a huge part in the visual storytelling of this. I thought it was great. But her apartment, I have a couple of issues, but I know they're done for artistic, like stylistic choices. Like if her apartment building is so far outside of the city, why is that one billboard facing the building?
Right.
Well, there's reasons, for story reasons, you need that right there in her face. So I just let that go.
That's fair.
Because
I understand that. I understand the like thing, but I also just let it go.
Yeah, because they're doing something completely different. I mean, she has this green goo that's gonna change her, so nothing's real in this.
Yeah. You can't take any type of reality into this. You have to suspend everything, because when she goes through the instructions and takes the first injection, like it's literally another person
Yes.
being created within her body that's full size that just pops out of like her back tears open and just pops out of her back.
Yeah. That was surprising
Like-
too. I didn't know how it was going to happen, and I'd seen the poster with like the cut with the stitches up her back, but
Yep.
I didn't know it was going to be that visceral,
Yeah.
and I didn't mind it because
Yeah, no, it works. It works because they've already given you the rules. The rules are that there are no rules.
well,
Well, no, meaning in the sense.
in the
of
movie itself,
anything can
Yeah.
happen.
Okay,
There's rules, like very specific rules
yeah,
in the film itself,
Yeah.
in the story.
And-
but in terms of cinema rules,
Yeah.
anything can go in this,
yeah,
which works because they go fucking insane.
they do,
So,
they do.
so Sue pops out of her back, fully formed adult in her mid-20s
Yep.
that looks somewhat like Demi Moore younger, but not exactly like her.
Enough that it wouldn't raise suspicion from
Right.
people, because if she's famous, they've seen what she's looked like her whole life.
Right. So she then reads she trying to figure it out. This is kind of where you have to even suspend a little bit more of your belief in terms of like, what does she know? Does she have all of the Elizabeth character's memories and stuff? Because there's a point where at first I thought it was like, yeah, they're because they keep talking about how they are one. Mm-hmm. Remember that, it's every 7 days you have to switch
Yeah.
because of the food. The food runs out,
Without
and spinal
exception.
fluid
Yeah.
Yep. If you don't, it's going to cause problems.
Well, I like how long
And-
it took the movie to tell us, not show us what happens when you go over on days, but to explain it. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a good fucking reason. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a hard
So-
line. Good for them.
The idea that they are one, but they are their own people.
It's like a
Is where
Voldemort
you
Harry
can-
Potter thing, isn't it?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, yeah, kind of. But like, Sue does not start off inherently evil or anything like that. She has the best of intentions.
Yeah.
But it's the type of thing where they then, because she's the young hot girl, she goes to the place, she gets the job to be the new person to do the show. And like, everybody loves her and everything is going so well. And she's got the hot boyfriend and she's like super sexy and like doing all of the stuff. And like, when she goes back to being Elizabeth, like Elizabeth doesn't know, I think, exactly what Sue is doing. And Sue doesn't know what
Yeah.
Elizabeth is doing. So I think there's a belief there that when Sue was first, quote unquote, created, she had the memories of the things that Elizabeth had done. But from
to
that
that
point
point.
on, they don't share any conscience. They're two different
yeah.
people
Yeah.
that are connected as being one entity, though.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's
It's
like,
actually it's a really interesting concept when you
Yeah.
start to think about like if you can think of it as a clone or whatever. Like she's a clone.
it's
but
sort of
has-
like, I think the best way to explain it is using Star Trek. If you transport someone and an accident happens and the signal splits in two, you get that. You would
Yeah.
get two different people. Or we could use the Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger comparison. But who's good on the inside and who's bad on the outside? Little
and
Dorian
it's not
Gray.
even. Yeah, and it's not even like I think even a good and bad thing. I think it's just one person wants to one person wants to survive more, and she's taking away from me, and then the other one's like, well, she's taking away from me. She's taking it too far. She's not respecting the boundaries, and it very quickly becomes a thing, almost immediately.
Oh, of course.
And then we see the first time that Sue overdoes it, that there's a physical reaction on Elizabeth's side,
yeah. Yeah.
where, which was done super effectively, I think, too. But then when you think about it, when she goes back to being Sue, Sue doesn't know any of that. She doesn't know what's being taken away from Elizabeth.
Yeah, because she's not
only
going to
knows-
examine the body. Yeah.
Right. So it's really interesting, and the symbolism plays obviously so heavy and so hard on Hollywood, not treating its older actresses the way it should.
I mean, the fucking
also-
dude's named Harvey.
I know.
And
I know.
and it's in the movie, so I can bring it up. The last time you see him, Dennis Quaid's character, he could best be described as Orange Man. Because he's wearing that orange suit. So he's an orange sexist.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't catch on that, but I'll take it.
Well, he's surrounded by a bunch of white guys, and all he's doing. Okay. So all the showgirls walk by, which is another part of the movie I don't understand, but I do at the same time. All these topless showgirls walk by, and he's looking at every single one of them while Sue is standing there watching him do it, watching him be a disgusting chauvinist right in front of everybody's faces, which goes along with what the real bad Orange Man said about going into the Miss Teen Universe changing rooms with underage girls, and he liked looking at them. So I don't think that was an accident.
No, I don't think anything in this movie was done as an accident. I think everything has its own symbolism and its own point. Yeah. You know, like even when it starts to affect her hand, like covering it up with the gloves, like to cover, and then like the makeup smearing the makeup, like it's all everything. Everything has symbolism, and it's all pretty well done. I feel too.
Yeah.
So as the story goes on, and Sue becomes more selfish and doesn't want to give up her time because she's now being offered all these amazing things, and they're like, "You're going to host our New Year's Eve special," which is like, the biggest deal, and it's going to make you a superstar. She's like, well, she can't go back to being Elizabeth because she has to be available for these things.
Right. So what was your first thought when they said you're going to do this? This is the biggest show, and you'll do the New Year's Eve show. My first thought was, oh, okay. What week is it? That's what I would want to know, because in my head I'm still like, oh, okay, so my fingers turn in this weird color. I'm gonna follow the rules now.
Right. But the thing is though, Sue's not following the rules.
No, because youth is wasted on the young. That's the old saying, right? You don't know what you got till it's gone. I mean, I could do Winger and Warrant songs all day if you want. Youth Gone Wild. That's Skid Row.
Yes,
she is kind of actually, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and as we see her, become more selfish and like the toll it takes, and then when she goes, there's a point where she stays Sue for what, like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah,
continuing to take. So like the whole thing too is, if you haven't seen the movie, like you have to take this like spinal solution out of the other body.
Yeah,
to be able to live while the other is in its food pack stasis
called
or
a
whatever
stabilizer.
Yeah, so you have to take the stabilizer every day, which is a shot that you take out of the other one's spine, spinal fluid or whatever you want. And she uses it so much that then there is no more.
Yeah, and
she calls the
New
place.
Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's the day before New Year's Eve or whatever. So she calls.
Oh yeah.
She calls. She calls the place.
Yeah, we don't have a name for it.
Yeah, she calls the substance and like is, hey, there may have been some misuse, and they're like, yeah, we told you, like there is no more.
Yeah,
like,
I expected like Alex Horn to show up and be like, all the information's on the task. There's a Taskmaster joke for people that watch that show.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. So like, and then she switches back, and Elizabeth is now like grotesque.
Oh,
and
she's literally she's a flesh-colored version of the Swamp Witch from Legend. Remember that?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And it just gets crazy, and I don't want to give away the end of it. The end of it is it gets nuts. It gets nuts.
It turns into an actual horror movie.
Yeah,
more or less. Yeah.
So there is a lot to love about this movie. I said this to you when we were texting back and forth. I'd say for the first 2/3 of it, this is easily the best movie of the year. And I had some issues with how long it ended up being, because it's about 2.5 hours long. And for me, when it kind of hit that 2/3 spot and it switched over, and it goes batshit insane at this point.
Are we talking after, like after she leaves the stage with the dancers?
That whole
around
sequence,
there.
Yeah, like that kind of whole sequence when she goes back again. Like that's where I'm kind of like, okay, and I didn't necessarily have a problem with where it ended up going. I just didn't like the structure and how long it took it to get there.
Okay.
Like I felt like they could have tightened some stuff up to get it there quicker. I love the fact that they went there and they went completely over the top with it because most movies don't do that anymore. Or like we'll talk about with Terrifier 3 next week. It's at 10 the whole time. Like this does this kind of slow burn build and then basically throws it all at you.
Yeah. I think what the movie did that was smart, the filmmakers did that was smart was the very first thing that would make the audience uncomfortable or realize, oh, this is not a normal movie, is the like 10-minute sequence of naked women, full body shots. Like Demi Moore's looking at herself in the mirror, and you get a shot from the front, from the back, and the other girl, whose name I totally just forgot, Sue, we'll call her. She's completely naked as well, and
yes, she was wearing prosthetic breasts though.
I did read that, and that's a great makeup.
You would
job.
never know.
No, that was fantastic.
And she said that too in one of the interviews I was reading, that she was like, "It's the best rack I've ever seen. It's just not mine."
Yeah.
But this movie uses, you had said to me,
wait,
this is the movie where all the nudity went.
It is. All the nudity went into this movie specifically. There's a scene, there's a shot when she's checking herself out. She's admiring her new body. And I swear to God, she pulls the striptease pose from the poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because she's Demi Moore. She's supposed to be Demi Moore. Sparkle. Elizabeth Sparkle. What a name.
What was the character from How I Met Your Mother? It was Robin Sparkles, right?
I have no idea. I didn't watch that show.
That was the character that what's her name that's in the Marvel movies?
Yeah.
She was Robin Sparkle, and she was like the when she was younger, she was
like
Canadian
a Tiffany,
teen pop star. Yeah, Canadian teen pop star.
Yeah. Yeah, I am glad I didn't watch this like a year ago.
Okay.
I was having a hard time with going on medication and stuff being clear and being able to look at stuff objectively from outside of myself. I had an existential breakdown, sort of publicly on Facebook, and then I snapped into whatever, and I just stopped using Facebook, more or less. All my posts on there are automatic posts from Instagram now. But this would have really, really bothered me just a year ago, because it sort of felt like I can completely understand how she wakes up and looks at herself and is like, what the fuck happened to my finger? Why is it a ghoul's finger? But like, it's like that. You look in the mirror and you're like, I don't remember looking this old. I don't remember everybody I know looking this old. I know I saw everybody yesterday, and then like, it felt like I saw everything clearly and I had to deal with that. And because I can't find a fucking therapist that'll take my insurance, I had to deal with it just through talking with my wife.
Yeah.
But aging is a fucking hammer to the face.
It really is, man. Like, I felt like, and this is going to sound like kind of like egotistical, like I felt like I held on to my youthful good looks for a long time. I attribute that to I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs. Like, I generally take pretty good care of myself, other than apparently diverticulitis. But I still had a full head of hair, and like I didn't have a lot of grays. And now in like the last couple of years, like I've lost a lot of my hair, and I got a lot of grays in my beard, and like don't have. Yeah. And it was like always like I tell people my age, and I still get it a little bit, but not nearly as much as I used to. When I would be like, oh yeah, I was I'm 47 now, but like at the time we were like, oh yeah, no, I'm 45, and they're like, really? Like I would have swore you were like maybe like in your early 30s.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, like the hairline is gone, the bald spot is opened up. So I'm right there with you, man.
I did compare pictures of myself, and this helped when I was heavier, when I was over 300 pounds, to how I look now. And I feel like I look better. And that really helped a lot.
Definitely do.
Thank you. So the amphetamines helped, the meth that I take every day. Honestly, the medication I'm on does suppress appetite, and I just eat when I'm hungry, and I'm kind of smart about it, sort of now. Right. And it really goes a long way. I feel better. I can walk without my lower back hurting. Ugh. So yeah, if I was in worse shape, I probably would have shut it off.
Yeah, it definitely could get under your skin. But I think they really do. I mean, that's a big point of this movie is they want it to get under your skin by the gross out stuff that they do, and then it's a body horror flick that's owes a lot to like The Fly and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I can totally see it like making. I mean, it's meant to make you uncomfortable, but there's like that. Make you uncomfortable, and then like this is too much. But they do a really good job of it, I think.
Yeah.
Should we grade?
I guess so.
All right. That's not the button I wanted.
Mission failure.
Damn it. There it is. All right, Chris. Do you recommend, and what is your grade for The Substance?
All right. Why the fuck did that open?
I can't help you there.
I have I'm using the AirPods, and I just tried to refit one into my ear, and I opened VLC by touching the AirPod somehow. I don't know. Probably because it was the last thing I was using. So yeah, this is a body horror movie. This is meant to make you squirm and feel grossed out. So I don't know you, but I can say that this is the best horror movie that I've seen this year. Not my favorite movie this year, but it's the best looking, it's the smartest written, and it's the best acted. And that's not even talking about how there's as much butt shot in this as there is slow motion in a Zack Snyder film. But I think that's part of the whole thing, because like when she's doing her show, when Sue is doing the show, by the way, she gives the exact same sign off and nobody catches on because they don't give a shit because she's hot.
Right.
I forgot what I was going to say. What was I saying before that?
A lot of butt shots.
Yeah, you
Zack Snyder slow motion.
barely see her face. They don't do a whole lot of face shots when she's doing the exercise stuff. And they make a point to point out that camera 5 or 3 is always on her ass, literally pointing at it.
The cuts of it are very reminiscent of, if you have recently watched Friday the 13th Part 4, the aerobics video that the doctor at the mortuary at the morgue is watching. That's what she's doing.
Okay. I like that. I had said to you that I thought it would have been hilarious if for even for one scene they switched out the actress with another one and just kept her in the same one piece with the cutouts on it and the very slim covering of the butt, just to prove a point that most people wouldn't notice because they're looking at her ass.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if I went back and they actually did do that and I didn't notice. But that's what this whole thing is about. It's supposed to make you look at the other half of the population, from me and you, and be like, yeah, they're regular people with the same fears as the rest of us. Why are we doing this to them?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not on that side of the question, don't watch it. If you're like D. Reynolds and you have a problem with older people, don't watch it. It's a tough one to recommend because it's so good, but it's so narrowly specific to a genre and the type of fan.
Well, not to spoil my ranking, but I would say that if you are a cinema fan and you can take the Cronenberg and the Lynch stuff, then yeah.
Yeah, this is more bothersome to me than Crimes of the Future. It's a better movie than Crimes of the Future, hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
But this is a movie made by the people that were inspired by Cronenberg and the rest of them. And when you're inspired by somebody that broke boundaries, you're going to as well. And that'll play into next week too, I think. So I'm going to give this an A-. I loved it and I hated it at the same time, just like I'm supposed to. It made me feel bad. It made me feel a little hopeful, and then it made me feel bad again. So I'll recommend it, but don't complain to me.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of the stuff you said. I'm going to recommend it. If you are a film fan and you can handle body horror stuff, like, then yes, this is your movie.
Yeah.
I think the marketing.
Sorry, I got to say one thing. All body horror movies generally start with the peeling off of a fingernail.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of 60 miles an hour right into the first thing. It's not a small, like, oh, I feel weird. Why is my fingernail coming off? No, it's hardcore. And then later in the movie, the fingernail comes off and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I think the marketing of this film is brilliant too. It's shot incredible. It looks incredible. Hats off to Demi Moore. Bearing it all at her age. I think she still looks friggin' amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she bears it all. She's naked like a lot in this movie. And that's not an easy thing for an aging actress to do, I would think.
No, and she wasn't going to.
Yeah, but she said when she read it and couldn't believe how well written it was.
Yep.
She was like, yeah, I'm on board for whatever.
Yeah. And then the other girl that played Sue, I'm never going to remember her name. She basically was like, I'll do it. If you do it, let's do this.
Yeah. And the two of them had, they said that they had like an incredible, really like friendship that they built through making this movie.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool. But yeah, it's shot incredible. The soundtrack is great. All of that stuff. I mean, if you're a film fan, you're a cinema fan, and you know, cool cinematography and like interesting looks and
it's
like
visually dense too with storytelling.
Yeah, if the visual elements of how you see a movie is a thing to you, then this is it's an A+. Like that's like incredible. I do think it goes on a little bit longer than it needs to. I don't think a 2.5 hour runtime is necessarily needed to tell this story.
Yeah, I think after a certain reveal, it should have been about 10 minutes.
Right. I feel like a 2 hour runtime on this probably would have been good and you would have probably got the same effect. But with that said, I'd say, like I said earlier, the beginning, like the first 2/3 of the movie, it's easily the best movie I've seen this year.
I could have watched a series of that.
Yeah, agreed. And it's kind of weird because you don't get any information about the substance. You don't get any information behind the company behind it or there's no like shadowy figures. You don't have any of that.
Yep.
And some of the reviews that I read saw, people were like, oh, I want to know more. And it's like, normally I'm the type of guy that wants to know more too, but like, it just worked for this. Like, I don't need a sequel. I don't need any of that stuff. I mean, if they were to do one, I'm not necessarily against it. But
because you can do it with a different person, and there you go. It's a whole different story.
Yeah. But I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'll go A- also. Based on the performances, the look, the feel, the whole thing. It's very, very well done. I'm with you. I think it's the best movie I've seen this year. I'm not necessarily ready to say it's my favorite movie I've seen this year, but it is definitely in terms of like how it was made and all the production side of it and the performances. It's the best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah. My favorite so far this year may be Late Night with the Devil.
That's up there
super
for
fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really looked at my list in terms of the things that are my favorite this year.
Yeah,
but,
there's still a bunch I got to watch.
Yeah. So there you have it. The Substance. It's available now on demand. It's not on any streaming services yet, but you can rent it on demand or through Apple or any of those places, Amazon, any of them. So
yeah.
Cool. All right, we are back. Scott is back. As we said, Joe will be back with us next week. I think Scott is going to run through a couple of recent releases that have come out to review this week.
I've been gone for weeks just enjoying my spooky October season without a care in the world. No holy shits to make it all.
And then all of a sudden, shit. That is true.
Yeah, I forgot. He got a nice little break out of this, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
Hey, dude, I'm right here. You don't need to be beeping. What the hell is that? What? All right, thank you.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott.
That guy seems weird.
What's really weird is taking yet another month off from the quote-unquote live shows. Some might say that's lazy or you're not doing your jobs, but I wouldn't say that. Not to your face.
Hey, fuck you.
Oh, yeah, you said we're lazy and we can't do our job, so forgive my incompetence, but get the fuck out.
Well, that being said, I got a lot of sound clips to get through.
Chupacabra?
And a few movies to talk about as well. And I really want to get this done today so I don't have to work on this on my birthday.
Well, when's your birthday?
It's in 2 days on November 7th. Thanks for asking. And it looks like you already got me a present. You finally returned to do the show.
I'm coming back. You don't have a choice in this matter.
Okay, enough jibber jabber. Let's quickly review your reviews from like a month ago so we can get to the good stuff that I watched. Starting with
2023's The Piper.
I honestly don't remember shit about this besides what I wrote down a month ago. There's a girl, she's gonna finish this piece of music someone burned up trying to destroy it.
Our main character has decided, fuck all that, I'm doing what my conductor wants because I need to be better than this other flute player who's a dick.
And I think the guy who played the Warlock is in this. It was his final film. Rest in peace.
Oh shit, the Warlock's dead.
Then Chris hit us with some Pied Piper lore.
If you read the original Pied Piper story, which they kind of talk about in this, like, yeah, he comes and steals all the fucking children.
Yeah.
So, like, this dude is coming to steal all the fucking children.
So that's terrifying. I give the movie a D+, and the review gets a B-. After that was another Tubi instant classic. I'll let you introduce it.
Oh, you know, I wasn't scared, so.
Oh, you were?
Okay, good.
Jesus. All right, the camp host. All right, goddamn.
You sound so enthusiastic. And Chris, he thought this was an audiobook and only listened to the whole movie. Hate to tell you, buddy, it had video too.
What the fuck? Okay, goddamn it. Now I feel like an idiot. I didn't even look.
I gotta be honest again, I don't remember shit about this movie either. Tell me something.
So it's then touched at that there's something supernatural going on,
Right.
and then they never talk about it again.
Cool, so that's worthless then. Anything you liked about it?
There's always going to be people that take things too far. And there's always going to be self-righteous people that think they're doing enough. And I like that.
Sounds great. I'm sure it all built up to make you dream of seeing a much anticipated sequel one day.
I am very interested to see if they do another one, though.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
I give the camp host a straight D, and the review gets a straight B, I guess. Oh, and you also reviewed Red Hot, Season of the Witch. Bill gave a caveat at the beginning of the review.
This week can go one of two ways. It can go into that historical OTC episodes of like, holy shit, that was fucking hilarious. I can't believe that.
Yep.
Or it can just be like, wow, you guys watch some real shit.
And somehow, you managed to achieve both predictions, climaxing with this grade from Chris.
This is the worst movie I have ever watched for the show, ever. And probably will be forever. But it's a movie, so I got to give it a grade. And I know it's not a real grade, but it gets an F-. Fuck
Fair.
this. This is the worst thing.
I agree with your grade, and that review gets an A.
Nice.
I love when a movie makes you both foam at the mouth.
We are taught not to cross lines between the living and the dead.
Are we, though? Yeah, who
Okay,
teaches us
cool.
that?
On to the most important part of the segment. You're going to want to hear about this.
Yeah, fucking stop telling me what to do.
I saw a couple of spooky sequels lately. Smile 2 and Terrifier 3. I'll start with Smile 2, because I have about 3 pages of script on that movie to say alone.
Don't do that. It was bad.
You're right. Smile 2 is just a 2-hour-long commercial for Voss Water. Me and two friends were the only ones in the whole theater, except for one lady that came in 15 minutes before it ended and played on her phone for 5 minutes of that, and then left her seat fully reclined when she walked out.
Just a huge bitch.
You said it, not me. Anywho, if you like Smile 1 like I did, this one will disappoint you. It has some of the psychological scares and some of the gore, but it really loses the intrigue part of Part 1. Part 1 had research and developed the lore and such. Part 2 just kind of rehashes things with a lead character that's rich and famous. It's kind of hard to feel sympathetic about much of anything happening to her. It's not as bad as it could have been, but most of the enjoyment was seeing the 25 times they clumsily stuffed Voss water into the movie, including a 10-second slow close-up zoom in on the bottle with no other characters in the frame.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened.
I give Smile 2 a C+. It's worth a watch to laugh at the product placement mainly. All right, now we move on to the phenomenon that is Terrifier 3, a movie I saw in a theater sitting next to a woman in a full art costume including a painted face.
Sounds interesting, right?
Is my daughter there?
Terrifier 3 was obviously a commercial success, making like $60 million on a $2 million budget. Not only that, it did so without any major studio push, and it was released unrated. That alone is pretty unheard of. But to also be the highest grossing unrated movie ever is quite a feat as well, although I can't imagine there was many of those to go up against. But it did beat Joker 2, so that's something.
Yeah.
But was it worth all the hype and success? Well, after Part 2, I simultaneously knew and didn't know what to expect from this one. I knew it would try and top the other films, but would it learn from past mistakes, one of which was Part 1 having basically no story. Part 2 started in with the story and lore, and I'm happy to report that Part 3 picks up right from that, including a headless Art the Clown walking around the subway. We get a several-year time jump so we can see how traumatized the events of Part 2 were on Sierra, aka Lauren Lavera. She does a terrific job in this, by the way. She's moving in with her aunt's family, big mistake. And after an extended stay at a psychiatric care facility, she's doing much better, but not really. David Howard Thornton does a charismatic job as Art as well. Vicky returns with her fucked up face as the voice of the evil duo. They have moved on to full supernatural territory at this point, and they have both suffered fatal wounds of various types and still returned nonetheless. And this time they're returning on Christmas, so the movie can be used more than one time a year. Yeah. As expected, we get a few new characters to butcher and Art in a Santa suit. So I think it's safe to say that Part 2 was way too long and was in desperate need of more editing.
I think so. That's what I gathered.
All right. I'm happy to report that Part 3 is far better edited and a far tighter movie. The pacing is much improved this time around. And with the exception of maybe comparing to that horrifically sadistic 6-minute long scene in the woman's bedroom in Part 2, the kills in Part 3 are ramped up a lot. And while we don't technically see Art murder any children, thank God, there is a scene in the mall that ends with something rather shocking, and that does involve kids. So I was not exactly a fan of that.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Something you'll notice quite quickly is that with the exception of maybe one guy that gets the skin ripped off his skull in a quite funny way, every kill in Terrifier 3 feels very mean-spirited.
He doesn't know shit about anything.
I know that sounds odd to say. I mean, the movie in general is kind of a mean-spirited concept, but it was rare to hear anyone in the theater laugh out loud at like any kill. Which if you've seen things like Final Destination 2 or Dead Alive or countless other movies involving over-the-top gory deaths, getting a big laugh from them out of the audience happens quite often. Just not in Terrifier 3. I guarantee when you see it, by the time you get to the credits rolling at the end, think about what I just said, and you'll be saying,
"Yep, you were right."
So I got exactly what I wanted and expected, just not exactly in the fun way that I wanted to expect it. I like it better when during the terrible things Art is doing to a person, he has a look on his face like,
"Oh yeah, I did that. So
You did do that, yeah.
I did, and I almost didn't.
The special effects were top tier, the music was great, the pacing was much improved along with better editing, there was more story, and ramped up gore. This should have been an A grade as far as horror films go. But that just borderline unsettling, mean-spirited feeling behind the kills just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I have to knock it down to a horror movie B+. I do recommend you see this if you're a horror fan or you liked part 1 and 2. You may like 3 even better, and I guarantee there's going to be a part 4, which
And 5,
may or
maybe.
may not give you a big stiffy to hear that.
I have, I guess we'll just say a huge moose knuckle.
Close enough. Okay, that's way too long for a segment already, but too bad. I had a lot to say after over a month.
There can be bad influences and a lot of new stuff you've never come across.
So until next Clown Santa Slasher, peace and love, guys. Outside the Cinema, the scariest podcast on the internet.
I mean, it's scary if people breathing heavy is scary.
It's unsettling. I don't think
It is,
I would say
right.
that it's like scary.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly with anal.
And a belated happy birthday to our friend Scott and his moose knuckle.
Yeah.
So next week you can hear our full review of Terrifier 3, and I'm also going to add a second movie to this because I have to talk about the film Trap.
No, I haven't watched that yet. Okay.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it is so fucking dumb, but I
Well.
need to review it so that I can rant about it.
Okay.
So Trap, which is available to stream in the US on Max, and Terrifier 3, which is available on demand everywhere. And it's not on Screenbox yet, but you get it on demand, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. So that's what's up for next week. So thank you guys for hanging around. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for all the well wishes I got when I was laid up with the surgery. Really appreciate everyone checking in on me. Hope everyone had a good Halloween. We didn't really get to talk about Halloween because we weren't over the air, but I didn't really do much celebrating this year. I know, Chris, you got some cool stuff that we could probably actually talk about next week a little bit.
Yeah, we can do
But yeah, I'm tired now and I want to take a nap. So
Okay.
everyone have a good week.
it. Yeah. Bye.